Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Yashodanandana, Prasajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana, Prasajana Ranjana, Yamunatira, Vanachari, Yamunatira, Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunya Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunya Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Yashodanandana, Janaranjana, Yashodanandana, Janaranjana, Yamunatira, Vanachari, Yamunatira, Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunya Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunya Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Yashodanandana, Prasajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana, Prasajana Ranjana, Yamunatira, Vanachari, Yamunatira, Vanachari. So, reading first the Krishna. Reading first from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Chapter Unlimited Opportunity, Limited Time. Only a few weeks after this meeting, the group received their first important publicity. A photo of the 6 Goswamis and little Saraswati appeared with an article by the famous columnist Atticus in the Sunday Times. Guru Dasa was quoted as saying, "Hare Krishna is a chant which sets God dancing on your tongue. Try chanting Queen Elizabeth and see the difference." The article described the missionary group from America as very gentle people, a bit unworldly, but not at all ingenious. Citing their renunciation of illicit sex and intoxication, the article commented, "Tame, you might think, but they look very well on it, and what's likely to earn them a public is their chanting." Within a few days, the same article appeared in the San Francisco Chronicle, but with a new headline, "Krishna Chants Startle London." Prabhupada was pleased when he saw the headline. Indeed, his Grihasta disciples had succeeded where his sannyasi godbrothers had failed. Although several of Prabhupada's scholarly godbrothers had lectured around England over the last 35 years, only one person, an elderly English lady named Elizabeth Bowtell, had shown interest. Yamuna had written Prabhupada to find out if they should visit Mrs. Bowtell. She had received the name Vinoda Vani Dasi. And Prabhupada had replied, "The history of this Vani Dasi is that she is an old lady and has a house and has hung a sign, Gaudiya Mat. But that is all. If they liked," Prabhupada had said, "they could pay her a courtesy call and see if she would let them use her place for kirtan." One of the men had gone to see her at her home, several hours out of the city. But from behind her closed door, she had refused to meet him unless he brought an introductory letter from the Gaudiya Math in New Delhi. Vinoda Bani Dasi was the fruit of 35 years of sannyasis preaching in England, whereas in 4 months Prabhupada's young American missionaries were startling London. After 5 months of living scattered throughout the city, the devotees met a landlord who allowed them to stay together rent-free in a vacant warehouse at Covent Garden. The devotees improvised a temporary temple and soon recruited their first 3 British devotees. The newcomers at once took to the full Krishna consciousness regime, including the dhoti and the shaved head, and loved it. The devotees thrilled to see the group expanding and Prabhupada's potency working, decided to phone Prabhupada from their landlord's office. The telephone was a conference phone, and Prabhupada's voice came over the loudspeaker on the desk. The devotees sat around the desk, listening tensely. Prabhupada, Mukunda said, we have some new brahmacharis here. Oh, are they cooking chapatis? Prabhupada asked from across the ocean. The devotees laughed uncontrollably, then hushed to hear more. No, Mukunda said, but they will be now. The devotees each told Prabhupada how they missed him, and he said he missed them too, and would come as soon as they could get a place. After allowing the devotees 3 months at the warehouse at Covent Garden, the Lord announced that he needed to use the space, and the devotees would have to move. The couples moved to 3 separate locations, and again their strong group spirit dissipated. Prabhupada began sending 2 or 3 letters a week to the scattered couples, praising them for their sincere determination. The devotees would gather regularly, if only to show one another their latest letters. Prabhupada wrote to Mukunda of his desire to preach Krishna consciousness in the West, specifically in London. So far as I am concerned, I always wish only to expedite my mission of life to spread Krishna consciousness in the western part of the world. I am still firmly convinced that if I can establish this movement through the help of all the boys and girls who have now joined with me, then it will be a great achievement. I am an old man, and there has already been warning. But before I leave this body, I wish to see some of you very strong in Krishna consciousness understanding. I am very glad and proud that you 6 boys and girls, although you have not been able to establish a nice centre in London, still you have done your best. And the news has reached far away in India that my disciples are doing very nice work in Krishna consciousness. So that is my pride. I have received a letter from my godbrother informing me that it has been advertised in India that in Vietnam also somebody is spreading Hare Krishna movement. So there is no need to be disappointed. You go on with your work as best as Krishna gives you the opportunity, and there is no cause for your anxiety. Everything is going smoothly. But since you are now separated, the strength of your activities appears to be a little disturbed. Now you try to assemble together in the same spirit as you were doing, and in that case, temple or no temple, your movement will go on progressively. We are not much concerned about the temple because temple worship is not primary factor in this age. Primary factor is Sankirtan, but sometimes we want a centre where people may gather and see, so a temple is required secondarily. So try your best immediately to live together. I am very eager to see that you are again living together. For Srila Prabhupada's disciples, his instruction that they preach in London was much more binding than any other obligation. He was in their hearts, and they thought of him constantly. In carrying out his orders and trying to please him, they were constrained not by force or law, but by love. To please the spiritual master is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and for Prabhupada's sincere disciples, to please him seemed the end in itself. Prabhupada ki jai. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dwaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 4, Text 4. Nabistu yata bilashitam suprajastam avarudyati pramodapara vivalo gadaksharaya giraswayam grihita naraloka sadamam Bhagavantam Purana Purusham Maya Vilasita Matya Vatsatatiti Sanuragam Apalalayan Param Nivritim Upagataha Nabistu Yata Vilashitam Suprajastvam Avaruda Yati Pramodapara Vivalo Gadgaksharaya Gira Shwaram Grihita Naraloka Sadamam Bhagavantam Purana Purashrusham Maya Vilasita Mati Vatsatateti Sanuragam Apulalayan Param Nivritim Upagataha Nabistu yata bilashitam suprajastvam avarudyati pramodapara vivalo gadgada sharya gira swayam grihita naraloka sadamam Bhagavantam Purana Purusham Maya Vilasita Matir Vatsatatati Sanuru Ragam Upalalayam Param Nivritim Upagataha. Would anyone else like to read the Sanskrit?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am trying. Nabhistu jatha vilashitam suprajastam avaruddhati pramodabharo vivalo gadgadaksharaya gira shairam grihita naraloko sadharmam bhagavantam purana purusham maya vilashita motir vatshatateti shanuragam upalayalan param nivrittim upagataha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Nabhistu yatha viloshitam suprajastvam avaruddhati pramodabharo viuhalo gadgada aksharaya gira swairam grihito naroloka sadharmam bhagavantam purana purusham maya vilosito motirovatsho tateti shanuragam upalalayan param nivritim upagataha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Nabhistu yatha bhilashitam suprajastvam avarudhyati pramod bhare vihivalo gadgada adhaksharaya gira swairam grihita naraloka sadharamam bhagavantam purana purusham maya vilashit मतिर्वत्स ततेति सानुरागम् उपलालयम् परां निवृत्तिम् उपगतः. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So, word for word, Nabi, King Nabi. 2. Certainly. Yata abhilashitam, according to his desire. Suprajastvam, the most beautiful son. Avarudya, getting. Ati pramoda, of great jubilation. Vara, by an excess. Vivalaha, being overwhelmed. Gadgada aksharaya, faltering in ecstasy. Gira, with a voice. Swairam, by his independent will. Grahita, accepted. Naraloka saramam, acting as if a human being. Bhagavantam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purana Purusham, the oldest among living beings. Maya, by Yoga Maya. Vilasita, bewildered. Matihi, his mentality. Vatsa, my dear son. Tata, my darling. Iti, thus. Sa anuragam, with great affection. Apalalayan, raising. Param, transcendental. Nivratim, bliss. Upagadha, achieved. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him, my dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yoga Maya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. The word Maya, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Maya is used in the sense of illusion, considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be his own son. Maharaja Nabi was certainly an illusion, but this was transcendental illusion. This illusion is required. Otherwise, how can one accept the Supreme Father as his own son? The Supreme Lord appears as the son of one of his devotees, just as Lord Krishna appeared as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. These devotees could never think of their son as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for such appreciation would hamper their relationship of paternal love. Om Anyana Timarandasya Jananjala Shalakaya Chaksho Ulamilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guru Maha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances to such a spiritual master. Translation again. Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him, my dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yoga Maya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi with everyone as if he were. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. So we have this wonderful explanation. So we've heard in the previous chapter about how King Nabi wanted, and his wife wanted to have a son like Krishna, like the Lord. And very kindly now Krishna has appeared in the form of Rishabdev as King Nabi's son. And of course, you imagine it's, how can a human have a son, have God, Krishna, as their son? So in order to be able to interact as father with that paternal love, he needs to have this, the yogamaya, the covering, the illusion that he doesn't actually think all the time that this is God, but he's actually thinking this is my son, and we naturally have a love for our children in a way that we don't have for others, and that bond that is so powerful. And Krishna came to experience that in this situation as Rishabdev, and so that he could have that paternal love and fulfill that desire of King Nabi to have him as his son. So really it's a wonderful thing that there is this yoga maya that can cover us with illusion, so that to experience that personal God as person. And as it's said, Krishna appeared as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaja, and so that they could never think of their son as this supreme personality of Godhead, for such appreciation would hamper their relationship of paternal love, as explained. And he appeared for not just for those parents, but for everyone, for all of the residents of Raj, all of those in his time, that they could relate to God as a person in a personal way, and that we now have that benefit that we can see Krishna as a person and relate, not that God is some nebulous big something or other out there, but he really is a real person that we can relate to, and we can love in that way as a person. We know we experience loving people and connecting with people on this planet, and so by God coming into a personal, in the form of a person, we can experience that love and connect with him that much better than if he was not in a form that we recognize. And there are times when, like when Krishna was first born to Nanda and Yashoda, not Nanda and Yashoda, Devaki and Vasudeva, and he comes in his four-handed form. So he shows that he is God. Of course, Nanda and Vasudeva and Devaki were expecting the Son of God, as has been foretold to them. And so Krishna did appear in that form. But they were overwhelmed and, of course, afraid of for his safety, because they knew Kamsa would kill their son. And so they requested that he turn back into a person, a boy. And so he does that. Krishna, on their request, becomes a form of a baby. And of course then Vasudeva immediately takes him away and again, the miracle that in this locked building, of course, anything can be done. Krishna can create anything. So the guard was not able to see the him being taken away, and the doors were miraculously opened, and so forth. That Krishna could be taken and placed upon Mother Yashoda's lap in safety, and Vasudeva returned as though nothing had happened. But with, yes, and of course the other baby was then in Krishna's place. So, yes, Yoga Maya is such a valuable for placing that illusion when needed. There is also the wonderful story of when Krishna, the other cowherd boys were telling stories and telling Mother Yashoda that Krishna had been eating dirt, and Krishna replies that they're lying, as he does, cheeky Krishna, young Krishna, but he says, open my mouth and have a look. And so Mother Yashoda does open his mouth, and overwhelmed to see there is the whole universe and all the glories. And she is overwhelmed and stunned. Actually, I might read a little bit from that. Within his mouth, she also saw Mother Yashoda saw the complete opulence of creation. She saw the entire outer space in all directions, mountains, islands, oceans, seas, planets, air, fire, moon, and stars. Along with the moon and the stars, she also saw all the elements, water, sky, the extensive ethereal existence, along with the total ego and its products, namely the senses, the controllers of the senses, all the demigods and the objects of the senses, like sound and smell. Within his mouth, she also saw the three qualities of material nature, all living entities, eternal time, material nature, spiritual nature, activity, consciousness, and different forms of the whole creation. Yashoda could find within the mouth of her child everything necessary for cosmic manifestation. She also saw him within his mouth. She saw within his mouth herself taking Krishna on her lap and having him suck her breast. Upon seeing all this, she became struck with awe. It began to wonder whether she were dreaming or actually seeing something extraordinary. There's the Yoga Maya. She actually imagined she might be dreaming. She concluded that she was either dreaming or seeing the play of the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She thought that she had become mad, mentally deranged, to see all those wonderful things. Then she thought, it may be cosmic, mystic power attained by my child. Therefore I am perplexed by such visions within his mouth. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the expression of consciousness, mind, work, and philosophical speculation, and whose different energies produce everything manifested and unmanifested. Under his energy, bodily self and bodily possessions are conceived. She then said, let me offer my respectful obeisances under him, under whose illusory energy I am thinking that Nanda Maharaja is my husband and Krishna is my son. That is all the properties of Nanda Maharaja. That all the properties of Nanda Maharaj belong to me, and that all the cowherd men and women are my subjects. All this misconception is due to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. So let me pray to him that he may protect me always. While Mother Yashoda was thus thinking in high philosophical way. Lord Krishna again expanded his internal energy just to bewilder her with maternal affection. So there we go, we have it. Cane covering so that she can. Immediately, Mother Yashoda forgot all philosophical speculation and accepted Krishna as her own child. She took him on her lap and she became overwhelmed with maternal affection. She thus began to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was understood through the process of cultivating knowledge derived from the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, practicing mystic yoga and studying Sankhya philosophy as her own begotten child. So there again, she saw this wonderful vision of the opulence of Krishna, but he covered her over so that she felt that extreme maternal love and didn't get lost in the Krishna as God, but she's still his son. And later when he's cheeky and she tries to bind him, when she steals the butter, breaks the butter pots, and she tries to bind him again, she couldn't do that if she really thought he was God. How could anyone chastise and bind God? But the illusory energy allows her to do that and treat her as a son, as a mother would, and out of love bind him as a punishment out of love, as parents do, to teach our children the ways. So yes, we can be grateful that Yogamaya does cover that illusion to allow that love. So yes, King Nabi here is offering, talks of his son with great love, and he certainly is wonderful. Everyone loves Rishabh-Dev, and he grows and lives among the people. I mean, how blessed to be able to live with God and relate to him as father, as mother, or in the other situations as a playmate. All the cowherd boys, of course, are playing with Krishna as a friend, and sometimes that's what we might desire, is to play with him as his friend. And we can read all those wonderful stories in the Krishna book and in the 10th canto. That what I was reading before was from the Krishna book. And there's the Krishna as being the servant of Krishna, and so there's that. We get to serve Krishna by our chanting, through our serving the deities, coming to the temple, cleaning the temple. There's so many ways as we can give service to Krishna, and he's pleased with our service. And then there's the conjugal love, the Madhurya Raga, Rasa. And so that's the highest that the gopis in that. And I mean, they are married, they have their husbands, but their husbands are an illusion, that indeed they're not actually directly connecting with the gopis. The gopis are transcendental, but there is this pastime of the gopis as married women, then having these loving affairs with Krishna in the forests of Vrindavan. But the husbands are placed under Yogamaya, so they don't even know their wives are missing and continue on. So again, there's another example of Yoga Maya covering over to keep the pastimes of Krishna alive and give that high experience of the gopis and loving connection with Krishna. And there's another tale, the one of the cowherd boys when Brahma decides to steal off with the cowherd boys, and Krishna. So when Krishna comes back and finds the cowherd boys gone, he creates other duplicates of the cowherd boys. So the real cowherd boys are off with Brahma, but Krishna creates these duplicates, and himself is in the form of these cowherd boys, and they continue to live on, go and be with their mothers and fathers, and in this way Krishna is giving himself directly to the mothers of the cowherd boys and the families, and they are not aware of the reality that it's actually Krishna there that they are interacting with instead of their sons. But what a wonderful gift that the Krishna can do that, and Yoga Maya allows that possibility. So yes, the miracles of Krishna and what he can perform for us, and that he has that he can place the illusion that we can love, devotees can love in so many different ways, is really a blessing. I will finish up there. Would anyone like to add any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you very much for the explanation of the verse. You are very nicely given. The first conception, the first thing you have mentioned is about the personal feature of the Lord. The Mayavadis think that Lord is not personal because he is not material. But we know from our acharyas and from the Shastra, as Prabhupada has always stressed on this point, that the Lord has transcendental body, and like any other person, Lord is also a person, but he is totally transcendental. Just because we cannot see with his material eyes, it doesn't mean that Lord is impersonal. But the difference is that he has a transcendental body which is different, completely different from us, and he is free from the three modes of material nature. And when this feature is imagined in the material by the common man, they cannot think of the body personal feature of the Lord. And you have given a nice explanation of Mother Jashoda, because Jashoda was playing with dealing with his son. It is difficult for him to consider he is the Supreme Personality of God. And when one thinks that his son is the Supreme Personality, then the relationship, normal relation between the son and the parents and the son diminishes, because reverence comes automatically. That's why the Yogamaya potency covered it, so that they never think that he is the Supreme Personality of God. Although by his action is always separate and different from the common people. And as you have told, when he was Lord was born in the womb of Devaki, and rather he appeared, and he showed his form. He has 400 form, which is not a normal feature. Now he is different from the ordinary person, and it is evident from the beginning. So we should always consider those facts when we are thinking of the Lord, so that we don't have any confusion. The Lord is supreme, and he is independent, he can do anything. But at the same time, we are limited, and our thinking, our imagination, everything is limited, and we should not try to judge the Lord by our own imagination. We should always consider what is given in the scripture and by our acharyas, and if we follow that, in that way we can have a clear idea of the Lord, and our relationship with the Lord will strengthen, and in this way our devotional service we can do perfectly, and at the end, if we are successful, we will go back to the Godhead. Hare Krishna. That is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, we are very blessed that we have all these, the Shastra that Prabhupada translated for us, the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So many explanations that we can understand and relate to and learn from. We have the spiritual master to guide us also. Fortunate. Would anyone else like to share anything or ask any questions?
Thank you, Mataji. So there doesn't seem to be any reflection questions, so we'll end here. Vancha kalpataru
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam padam Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. This was Hamish. Hannah Mataji ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.